last episode, and we decided that we're going to cover it this episode. So, yeah, it's a controversial one. Some people are definitely, I don't know. We want to know where you stand on this. Roe versus Wade. Do you think abortion it should be like legal or made illegal or whatnot? But it's definitely a deep one. So we're about to go in on that. Welcome everyone everywhere to the Elite Thinking Club. I'm Chris Jules Julian, and I'm joined tonight by my co-hosts Michael and Liz. How you doing, guys? You good?
Hi.
Yeah, very good, very good.
I love it.
You?
I love it. Right, Michael, you're on holiday at the moment, and you're still on for the episode. Flipping love it, man. We can literally do this anywhere. It's sick, isn't it? If you're tuning into the TikTok right now and you'd like to see Michael and Liz, just head over to the YouTube and view the channel because we are live and you'll be able to see all three of us. Alternatively, if you are live on the Instagram right now, hello, welcome. Um, but yeah, again, if you want to see all three of us, just head over to the YouTube and you can see all three of us. But wherever you're watching us, it's nice to see you. Let's acknowledge some of our Elite Thinking Club members. We got Nini on the TikTok. Welcome, Nini. You all right? And we got Clive on the YouTube. No doubt he's been here from day. Probably Paul as well. Liz,
Got
we've just
Language
started.
Charlotte and Chloe on Insta as well.
I
Hi
love
guys.
that.
I hope you can hear everything. You can only just see me, but hopefully you can hear the guys in the background.
I absolutely love that. So, welcome to the Elite Thinking Club, everyone, everywhere. We are put together a show dedicated to critical thinking because critical thinking is analyzing the facts to form judgments on the world that we live in, and we're just trying to like explore it, right? Because you cannot change anything unless you're willing to understand it, and you cannot understand it unless you're willing to explore it. Good debates don't get ugly. We may talk of things that make people feel vulnerable. Beliefs held sacred may be challenged because of life experiences, but we're not trying to make people wrong or to incite riot, but just simply explore. So welcome to the Elite Thinking Club. Last episode we talked about ruling elites and not to blame governments so much as to just take a look at ourselves and understand that the work starts from home, to be fair. There's a rise and fall in all empires, whether it's ancient civilizations or just eras in time, like Tudors, Victorians, and such. And we just explored last episode where we currently are in our tech age, if that makes sense. Is it the fall of something or is it the start of something? But we'd love to know what you guys think. So after this episode, definitely head over and watch that episode if that interests you. But tonight, Michael and Liz mentioned something towards the end of last week's episode, and that was the Roe versus Wade. This whole political thing on abortion and whether or not it should be made illegal or it should be legal, or is there a clause or is there certain restrictions? And to be honest, I didn't know much about it. And Michael and Liz, you seem to know a lot more than I did about it. And I'm glad that you gave me a bit of time to try and catch up on it. But it seems to be a real big thing. And already we've got some of our viewers on the TikTok commenting about, okay, pro-choice, abortion, Roe versus Wade. Is that the same my body, my choice for the vaccine? And I love that you mentioned that because we've done episodes on that. Actually, that's how pretty much the Elite Thinking Club started, was to do with the lockdowns and vaccines and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But tonight, let's talk about this Roe versus Wade. So, to begin with, Liz, I want you to sort of lead this one because being a female, um, I wouldn't know what it's like to have something grow inside me. And you're obviously a mother as well, so you've been through that experience. And um, then talk to us about this Roe versus Wade and what your take is on it.
Okay, so to keep it quite sort of simple, I will always feel that it's important to be pro-choice. So I believe that it is my body, my choice. Um, and I kind of feel like you can't be um, saying pro-choice with regards to abortion, but then say no to pro-choice with the vaccines. So it's body autonomy. It's my body, my choice. So personally speaking, I would want the choice. I would want the freedom to choose what I wish to do with my body, whether I wanted to have a medical procedure, um, um, because of whatever circumstances, I should have that choice because it will affect my life. So I believe that women should have the choice and the freedom and the power over their bodies. I don't believe it's something that they should be told what to do, and that they can't do something when it comes to something like abortion or any medical procedure. You know, if somebody came up to you, you know, you guys are guys, but if somebody came up to you and said, you can't have this medical procedure because we've said so, we've made it the law that you can't have it here. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you're right. We are guys. We wouldn't really know what it feels like to have an abortion, to live with that also. Like, I don't know what it is to have something growing
I've never.
inside of me like a woman does for 9 months. And also, there is I guess, this idea that it may be growing and developing inside you, but in theory, it isn't actually a living thing yet. It isn't living on its. It's actually part of you, isn't it? It's not actually its own being yet. It cannot survive without you. But we're going into real deep, real quick on that. Just want to let Michael take your view and your opinion on that before we go any further. Michael, after hearing what Liz just said, what do you take on this Roe versus Wade thing, abortion stuff?
See, it's a hard one because as a male like you, it's hard to put my point across without sounding like I shouldn't know what I know. But the thing that you got to get with is, when does the fetus become a life? Because in certain states in America and certain places in England, you can get a baby out at like 7 months and it can survive it. So it all depends, because if it's viable outside the body, then surely it should be considered a life. So I understand people wanting to have abortions, but then if you're fourth, then that's where it becomes a grey area. That's why they made these bans, because it's people that believe that it's a life that don't want to stop the life.
But do you think that, I understand the element with regards to the fetus being a life, but don't you think that the person that will be carrying the life and be responsible for the life should have a choice as to whether they go through with creating and producing that pregnancy and going through the birth and then becoming a mother, if they don't feel, due to their circumstances for whatever reason, whether it's, you know, they've been attacked or abused, or it's just, you know, a one night stand, or it's just whatever, it's their choice whether they physically go through that, and whether they, you know, bring that life into the world. It's a massive responsibility, and I think that under certain circumstances, it's not something you can generalize. You can't just say, yeah, everybody, you can't do this or you can do this, because, you know, if somebody were to be raped and they became pregnant as the result of that rape or that attack, it's already traumatizing for them that they've been through that ordeal. But then to be told that they're carrying the life from the person that attacked them, and that they would have to go through with that pregnancy. They didn't plan to get attacked, therefore they didn't plan to get pregnant. So is it fair?
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from, but the fact is, if it's a life, it's a life. However it become to be, if we agree that it's a life, then whether you did it on purpose or been attacked, then a gross action shouldn't then allow another gross action. So if you believe it's a life, then stopping it for whatever reason should be a bad thing. It's like the best way I got explained it.
Well, I can see why some people
is
see it.
If you're driving down a road and you think that someone walks out in front of your car, you stop. If you think it's happening, you stop. So whether it is or it isn't, you stop, because you err on a side of caution. So
Mm.
if a life is inside you, whether you like it or not, you err on the side of caution and let the life carry on. Because, like I said, in some states, at 7 months, they can't take the baby out, and some states it doesn't live, but in
Yeah.
others, you can do it well before that, and it still will be able to live outside the body. So,
That is
one, it determines when it becomes alive, and two, sustainability. When is it really sustainable, and therefore not part of your body? Because you're
that's
not born
really
with 20 fingers, 20 toes.
that's really
I
interesting,
get,
and
I
we've got
get that, but we've also got to look at the fact that there's a person that is carrying that person. There is a
Mm,
person that is the portal for that fetus.
mm,
And regardless of the circumstances, they should have body autonomy. They should have the choice of whether they wish to proceed with growing that fetus in their body and whether they want to terminate that pregnancy. There should
yeah.
be a choice of whether they continue or terminate. The choice should never be taken away. The element with regards to the fact that it's a life and that it's wrong, I completely understand why people see it that way. I can see under like religious side, like I can understand the whole concept of that, but I think that we really need to be careful with the power and the laws being changed with regards to our body autonomy and being told what procedures we can have, what procedures we can't have, what we have to take, what we should always have a choice. And we saw this with the vaccinations. We saw this where it was, how people were treated for not wanting it or for choosing a different or a more natural way of medicating themselves. We should always have the choice.
We've got some real passionate viewers right now. People in the comments are just literally having conversations of their own. I love that, by the way. I encourage that because we are exploring and there's no right, no wrong. This isn't a if you will, shut people down, or you have a right to view and express how you feel, and it's good, it's
Absolutely.
okay, it's fine.
Free
This
speech.
is a healthy space to be in mentally, as long as we don't allow it to escalate, un
Yeah.
un un
Necessarily.
uncivilized. So
Yeah.
keep it cool, keep it cool. Right. So yeah, I just obviously listened to both of you, and it's really healthy. It's nice to see such viewpoints. And I know also as well at the Elite Thinking Club, sometimes we play devil's advocate just so it allows the conversation to explore more. Because if we all agreed on the same things, then ultimately we wouldn't actually get nowhere. We'd just continue to, I don't know, sit sanctimoniously on a throne of self, what do you call it, gas yourself up, and we're not. So it's really important. It's surprising the amount of females who are on your side, Liz, and there are almost none who are against what you're saying, which for me is quite an observation. It's like, if this is such a powerful thing, how if say 99% of females agree with your take on it, is it being passed? How can it possibly be passed? And I don't think that.
This is no disrespect to men whatsoever,
No,
but
go ahead.
no man should have the right to tell any woman what she should do with her body with regards to this law. And it's you guys don't understand, because you're not women. You don't understand what we have to actually go through. Like I've
That's right.
never been through that procedure personally, but I have created life, carried life, and given birth. And it's amazing, but it was my choice to do so. It was when I was ready, when I wanted to do it. And I cannot imagine if I had that happen at a time in my life where it wasn't right and I wasn't ready and I couldn't be responsible, because I would
So
then
you, So sorry, Liz. I understand what you're saying, but I have to interject there with
Yeah.
this. As it's your choice, but you're not just carrying your baby,
Yeah.
you are also carrying someone else's baby because
Oh,
it
yes,
takes two to create, right?
absolutely.
Now,
Obviously.
if it was their choice to want to keep the baby,
Mm-hmm.
but your choice to not want to,
Mm-hmm.
you have overall say,
Mm-hmm.
and it's taken away from the
Mm-hmm.
man because there is no equality in that sense, simply
No,
because he isn't carrying the child, it's you.
exactly.
Right. So ultimately, regardless of how a man feels, and you said no disrespect to men, but I have to speak for all men when I say that
Absolutely.
if we want a child and you've said okay and you have sex with us and we're breeding, we flipping doing this to make a baby, then
Mm.
at any given time you turn around and say, my choice, I'm out. You've just taken away something that we wanted.
Well, I think in
And
the circumstances of if there were two people that were fully aware that they were procreating and um, trying for children, then absolutely I can see what you're saying from your point of view. But if I was in that mindset that I was creating, I wouldn't even have the thought process of not wanting that child or not having that baby. I'm
so
saying,
let's imagine now that I love you. Let's imagine that I am in love with you. There is no greater feeling for a man than to know that I want to create a child with your eyes, my features, but your eyes. I want to look in that baby's eyes and see its mother. Yeah, like I am so ready to do this. Like, and we've done it. We've been saying it for a while, and we're gonna go for it. And then all of a sudden we do it, and you get cold feet.
mhm,
Right. Now, I haven't raped you. There's two different circumstances towards this argument. And this is why it's important because there is so many really, really passionate people about the side of things where, if it's your body and it's your choice, you can prevent yourself from living with trauma you don't want. And I get that. You don't want to be looking in the eyes of a child where you may see the eyes of your oppressor. Granted. However, we're not talking about that now. We're talking about a couple who have been preparing for this moment for a while and they've got everything in place and you want to go ahead with it and then it happens and then 3 or 4 weeks into it you turn around and say it's my body, it's my choice, I don't want it no more. I am fucking devastated. If as a man I am so because I don't have the power to reverse it. I don't have the power to say no, you can't do that. I
no,
don't have
because
it.
ultimately it will come down to whether she walks into a clinic, or in this scenario, I walk into a clinic and say no, it's my body and I don't want to do this. So
So
I
wouldn't
can
it make sense if
totally,
there was a law that allowed both parties to mutually agree? Let's say that you both mutually agreed to have sex with consent, you're creating a child.
yeah,
Now, for one of you to back out and the other one says no. Now, in reverse, if the man says, I don't want this kid, bro,
yeah,
you shouldn't have fucked her. You
yeah,
shouldn't have fucked her, right?
absolutely,
Right? It was
absolutely,
your fault. But if you are having sex with him, you know what he fully wants.
yeah,
Like he does want it. So then to get pregnant and then you turn around and say, no, I didn't want your kid, he should know. No, we had sex, it's
yeah,
what I wanted. If you didn't want my kid, why'd you let me fuck you? Why did you let me do that? Do you get what I mean?
yeah.
If you don't want the kid, have the kid, and then I'll take the kid. I'll take full custody of it. I'll take full ownership of it because it's
But
something that I
that's
wanted.
the thing, though. It's her body that will be carrying the child. It will be her health that is affected. It will be her that has to go through the event that is the birth. And it's all of the hormones and the attachment, and so it is effectively, without her, there wouldn't be the baby coming, into the world. So
Yeah,
and
she is the
mental
vessel.
and
Like she is
emotional.
the vessel that holds
Yeah,
the baby, and then the portal that brings it into the world. I
yeah,
fully understand that and fully
yeah.
appreciate that. But that is nothing I have. I can't do anything about that.
No, I know.
Right.
And
But if I am trusting you, yeah, with my seed to do that for me,
mhm.
then it's kind of devastating to
It
know
is
that you
devastating,
could
and I
take that
think
from me at any
I
time. You could
think
just
it's
take it.
heartbreaking for any man that, is in that sort of, um, relationship with somebody and they're on that level where they're, you know, fully
I
aware
don't think enough women realize how much privilege they have as women in this current world. There is a lot of battle and fight to this whole women's rights matter and you know, equal opportunities and all this and stuff. And I truly have to say this when I say this with all respect. I don't believe they know how privileged they are until we have these conversations.
Yeah, I
Right.
get
And I
that.
know,
I think in this scenario that you're talking about, you are right with regards to the fact that effectively the men don't really have a say in it, because what she says goes. If she chooses to continue the pregnancy, great. If she chooses not to, and that's against what you want, then obviously it's not so great. But effectively, it will be down to her, because the life is growing inside her.
yeah. And again, we do this at the Elite Thinking Club to explore, and there's no right or wrong. Playing devil's advocate sometimes is a very, very needed thing.
It's a very, very difficult situation. I've never experienced it myself, but it's a very, very difficult situation to be in, where one doesn't want and one does. It's easier, I think, like when you did the scenario where if the male didn't want the child,
Yeah.
because then she can either choose to walk away and do it on her own and have the baby, or she can choose to terminate the pregnancy and walk away from him, and then that's that. But when it's the guy that wants it and the girl that doesn't, it's a very, very difficult situation, because it's ultimately going to come down to her and her choice.
Mm. I mean, yeah, the stigma that surrounds single mothers in comparison to single fathers, it's very different.
That's not equal, is it?
No, it's unheard of almost. This is what I tried to explain when I talked about privilege in current society. Like a lot of women don't like it, but the reality is true. In most scenarios, there is a lot of privilege in that sense. That it is what it is, whether they are like that or not. Already, some of the comments that I've received on TikTok, and I have to just take them as they are. And some people aren't happy. They're not happy that I'm saying this, but because I suppose truth is like poetry, and no one likes poetry. So,
I like
well,
poetry. I also
that's
like truth.
yeah, but you're a true freedom fighter, Liz, and I love that about you. So, pardon me. But this Roe versus Wade. So let's get down to some more nitty gritty parts of it. Um, so what is it? A law that abortion is illegal now?
In
No,
certain
no.
states.
Yeah, in certain states. So all they've done is they've made it so it's up to the state rather than just a blanket allow or blanket not allow. So it's up to the certain states
So
whether they allow it in their state or not.
so it'd be like
Okay.
an application process. Instead of just calling up and booking a termination and having the choice to just book it in and have it, it will be, you will have to basically get permission to see whether you have the right to go and have a termination.
Okay.
This
So
law has been passed. This law has basically been overturned. And it was like 50 years ago.
1973 it was.
So 50 years ago, the choice was granted, and it was given the body autonomy, and that the state doesn't have a say. Now they've overturned, so we've effectively gone back in time. We're modern day times, 2022, but we have overturned a law that was made 50 years ago.
because 50 years ago times were different, like life
Mm-hmm.
was different, lifestyle was different. Had a comment earlier, someone said something about contraception and that, and it's a bit silly because, like, again, women are very, very good at saying that was you that didn't put that on. Well, you still choose to have sex with him, you know, when he didn't put it on. It isn't one of you can't just like double standard it. Do you know what I mean? You can't
It
just
takes
throw
two
it
to
back in
tango.
someone's
It
face.
takes two to
Yeah,
be
100%.
responsible.
If
Two to
if
be
he you get
responsible.
what I mean? Like, come off the comments with that. All right. I'm just want to
Apparently
clear the air here. I am
63
all
million
about
babies have been terminated.
I'm all about people taking ownership for their actions. If you choose to abort, then you live with that. If you choose to keep, then you live with that. But no one should have the right to tell you what you can and can't do in that sense. Like you can't tell someone that they can't chop their own arm off. If they want to chop their arm off, let them chop their arm off, because then they got to live with the consequence. Do you know what I mean? But if you choose to chop your own arm off and then get upset that you can't stir a cup of tea whilst holding the cup, yeah, then you can't take that out on the rest of the world. All right. You're gonna have to learn.
I love your examples and analogies.
You like my metaphors. You're gonna have to learn
That's it.
to stir that cup and then wait and then pick it up with one arm. It is what it is, and that's the same, I suppose, in what we're talking about. It is tough. It is hard to accept that the situation you're not ready for. You have to live with that,
Either
or
way,
not, or not. Yeah, yeah.
Either way, people have to live with it. I think some people find it easier if they're not ready, and or if it's a sort of traumatic situation. Of course, it's easier to deal with it there and then and terminate and not have to live with the consequences forever. But it's all ultimately down to choice. And
Can I ask a question to everyone? This is to everyone, including all the audiences, whether you're watching us on TikTok, Instagram, or the YouTube right now. And if you haven't done so already, hit the like and hit the subscribe button for future episodes. If you still haven't done it, you've been watching for so long. If you're liking what we're about, imagine if the law was you had to abort. Let's imagine there was like a criteria that if you weren't reaching as a mother and a father, so you had like this, I don't know,
system.
Yeah, you had this whole like tick box system, like, are you together? Tick, do you live together? Tick,
Are you
do you
married?
earn
You
enough
earn a certain
income?
amount of
Tick,
money.
yeah, are you married? Tick, do you know what I mean? Like, if there was a certain criteria, and then if you didn't reach that, then nah, you're not allowed to have a baby. You're not ready to have a baby. You are going to be a toll on the rest of us taxpayers or some shit. Do you know what I mean?
A bit like China with the whole one-child scheme.
Yet they are very self-sufficient, and they, you know, they do well. They thrive. They don't need the rest of the world in a weird way. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? So that will stop, if you will, people having multiple kids, you know, and not really being able to bring them up, you know what I mean, in society or whatever. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? This is for everyone, by the way. And if you still ain't done so, hit
Again,
that like and subscribe.
I think it's wrong if they had a system where they said you had to get an abortion if you don't tick the box criteria. You know, it's just,
Would it not act as a deterrent to stop people from just like not
it,
using
it,
contraception, or just
it might be a way of scaremongering people into being a bit more slightly responsible and a bit more mindful of what could happen if they're just going to be a little bit promiscuous. But I don't think that,
like, if you want to go and get a mortgage, you have to have a credit check. You have to show that you are capable of paying back the money. Like, you can't just go and get a mortgage. Right. So there's like certain criteria before you can have certain things. And I know we're talking about life here, but you know, we're just exploring, by the way. I've got so many comments coming at me.
I
You
just
guys.
I just think, like, you know, universally, it's nature. We should not be, we just should always have freedom of choice. We just should have body autonomy. Nobody anywhere should tell you what to do with your body. Now, I understand if people, there's elements, I know that some people might come in here and say, well, what if it's somebody who's being cared for? I'm not talking about power of attorney. I'm not talking about, you know, taking care of somebody's health that they can no longer understand or make decisions for themselves. That's completely different. I'm saying that we should have freedom of choice and body autonomy over everything that we choose to do with regards to medical procedures, and especially if a woman is pregnant and she does not want to bring that life into the world. It is fundamentally her choice, as to whether she chooses to continue that pregnancy or terminate that pregnancy. Full stop.
Now, back to what I applaud what you're saying, Liz, because like you're a passionate speaker and you speak for women. As again, me and Michael have already explained in the start of this episode, we're not women, so we don't know and we won't know ever, but we're just happy to explore. All right. This is the Elite Thinking Club. And you know, you've got a lot of supporters, Liz, and I love that. Guys, if you're not following her already on Instagram, go over to Instagram, find California Frizz, follow my girl Liz. We love her just as much as you do. And this is so important, like that we have what we have. A safe space to explore. So the question in hand is like about a woman's pregnancy, and she has the right to terminate whenever she wants. Like, when is a fetus and a baby? When is it in essence murder, like death, like you're killing our potential next Einstein?
That's what I was trying to say with the, if you're uncertain, be clear with this whole thing, I am still on the fence with it. I personally do not have any stake in the game. So, I mean, the only thing I wish they would do is if somebody wanted to abort their child, to be like some sort of program to make sure they want to before they do it.
And fully understand
Like
what's going
loads
on.
of checks before they do
Yeah.
it. So if someone doesn't want it, it's not for me to say. I'm never going to say that. I literally I just play the other side because it's not my body, so it's not anything to do with me. But yeah, you need to decide first in whether it is a life you're getting rid of before
You know, like
decide
soul, the human soul. When you have soul, you're a living soul inside a form of whatever this is, the human body. You know, like I like to use metaphors, Liz and Michael, guys. If you sit inside the car, you literally become the controller of the car, just like your soul or mind is the controller of your human body. You know, it does things. It takes you places. You can enjoy the car, depending on the shell, basically. Why, like, when is the baby soulless whilst it's in the womb? I've not been pregnant. I wouldn't know. I can only imagine. Is the baby connected with you? Is it
Yeah.
your soul? So it's your soul in that body.
No, I believe it's its own soul.
Right. So it's like having I always use metaphors, but in essence, a pickup truck with a car on its back,
Yeah.
with another person in
Or the
that car,
trailer.
but you're in the truck.
Yeah.
Now you say, I don't want this car no more with that person inside it. Fucking get rid of it.
Mm.
Have you just killed a soul? Or what? I don't, you know, help me here. We're exploring.
Everybody looks at it differently. Some people, you know, I don't know if you've ever sort of watched or researched the process of when somebody goes for a termination, but they do have consultations and they do, you know, get prepped for the medical procedure. And sometimes they are told, you know, and reassured, especially if they are emotionally and mentally being affected by the fact that they're having this medical procedure. So of course they're made to feel better about what's going on, because people struggle with this element, Jules. People struggle with the fact that they are doing that to a soul or a life, and that messes with the women's heads, you know, that they're having to do that at that time in their life. So they get told that it's not really formed, or, you know, depending on the stage that they're at, this, I'm talking very early on here, that, you know, it might not have certain features yet. You're at this early stage, so, you know, this is how we would do it, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I think people get told or made to feel like it's not at a certain stage but regardless, it's still alive. It's
Mm.
a
It's a
being.
difficult one because
It's a being that's being created, but
yeah.
it depends
So
on how
before
you
until
look
it's
at life.
so until it's delivered, it's
It's
still
not
the
classed
woman's
as
body.
it's not classed as an actual being until the baby is
It's
born. It's
left
not
the
classed as
woman.
human. Yeah. So it's classed as a fetus. It's got like, so basically, if say I was
So
pregnant
until
and
it,
I
so
had
when
a
it
car
leaves your
crash,
sorry,
say I was
yeah, I was gonna
pregnant and I had
say,
a car crash, they would say
yeah.
pregnant woman or my name, and she was pregnant with a, but if my baby was in the car seat, it's then
There you
two,
go.
it's
That's my point. That's my point. Exactly.
the mother was killed, child was killed. But when you
Yeah.
hear of somebody who is pregnant, it's and their pregnant wife or pregnant, lady, whatever. So, I mean, I know different
Yeah,
places
but
say
is that just
things,
because it sounds better to say it that way?
Yeah.
but how else would
Because
you
it is
say
less
it?
hard
She
hitting.
actually physically is pregnant. Her physical form would be pregnancy, wouldn't it? How
Yeah,
else
it
would
wouldn't
you
be
say
two
it?
separate bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's
Exactly.
pregnant with a child.
Yeah, exactly. She's pregnant with the child. Exactly.
So an abortion isn't murder because
Some
it's
people see
in
it
your
as,
body.
some
Because it's in
people,
your body. But if the baby was outside your body and I killed it, that's murder.
it's murder because the
Yeah.
baby has been born. The woman has bared the child out of the carrying, so that it's not a fetus anymore. It's actually a living being because it has entered the world. It's very hard, isn't it?
Wow.
But
We
then-
just got a comment here
then if you
from
get-
But then
avid
if I were
viewer.
murdered and I was pregnant, it would be she was murdered and her baby.
Yeah,
Wow.
unborn baby. So if
Because
you were
Unborn
pregnant
baby.
and someone
unborn
stabbed you in the
baby,
stomach,
it would have said unborn baby. So it's unborn, but still they would have said baby, unborn baby. But that's the thing. So if it's
Right.
unborn,
Okay.
it's not alive, is it?
well, it is because it still moves inside your
Yeah,
body.
I mean, it's not just sitting in your stomach, is it? It's live and kicking. Most
got a
people love it
heartbeat.
when it's live and kicking.
Got
They're
a
like, look at my
heartbeat.
baby kicking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get that.
Okay,
But
cool.
sorry, Karen.
No, that's all right. Welcome everyone everywhere to Elite Thinking Club. If you're just tuning in and you haven't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. We're having one hell of a debate right now. We're talking about, well, it all started from Roe versus Wade and this whole abortion sides. And we at the Elite Thinking Club, we're just exploring. Okay, we're just here to explore and learn and expand the mind, because you can't change anything unless you're willing to explore it. And willing to understand it, and you can't understand it unless you're willing to explore it. So that's what we're doing right now. So many comments here on the TikTok.
Let's have some comments. Let's mix it up.
Let's have some comments. So wait, before I go in on the TikTok ones, like, we're obviously being watched on the Instagram and the YouTube as well. So like, guys, have you got anyone that is like, share what they have said? If you've got anyone.
Well,
No
Zach
one
and
said
Nini are chatting to each other.
What?
Zach and Nini are chatting amongst
Oh,
themselves.
Zach and Nini. Yeah, Nini's great. She's been here from day. Good luck. Good stuff. What about Instagram? Liz, go ahead.
Just people saying hi.
Big up yourself, Nini.
Yeah, there's just people are just saying hi. Charlotte, Chloe, Abs, Lucas, Kirsty. So yeah, no one's put any questions on there or said anything, but they're just saying
All
hi.
right.
So yeah.
Well, on the TikTok, it's fucking popping off. I've had people leave. I've had people. Trust you. It since the start. I can't even scroll the way back. People are just like, nah.
We need to hear some. We need to see what's going on.
This is like a man's perspective and all shit like this, and you've lost it and all that. Right, but like recent ones are really, really good. So people say that if your baby dies stillbirth, you have to register it life and then dead because it was born, if that makes sense. It was delivered. So
yes, that's correct.
That if you hurt a pregnant woman and the baby dies, surely manslaughter/murder. Yeah. So this is it, right? So if it's your body and your choice, you're not killing the baby because it's you. However,
there have been
as soon
cases.
as you deliver it, it's not you anymore. So if you kill it, it's murder, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, because it's not unborn, it's born. And there have been legal cases where pregnant women have been killed, and the baby, obviously, as a result of the mother's heart stopping, the fetus has died. And in those cases, it's murder for the mother, and like you say, manslaughter for the unborn child, because they weren't affected.
How much more difficult is the decision if you know you're carrying twins?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it's
Is it
still,
easier decision when you know it's just one? But what if you know you've got
well, I
twins
think
or
by the
even
time
triplets?
you have to be so far gone before you know that you're carrying twins. So you'd have to be a certain way along within the sort of first trimester, second trimester. So I mean, I think any decision, regardless of whether you have one baby, two babies, three babies, four babies, it's going to be a difficult decision to make. Effectively, it's one pregnancy that will be terminated, but it's obviously then seen as one or two lives, depending on how many unborn babies are inside there.
So
But
right, are we right in thinking that any time before we can determine if it's one child or two children is actually not a baby, it's a fetus? But any time after that, if you know you're having twins, mate, you can't
then
be killing off anything at that age, because that age isn't actually a fetus anymore. That's
I mean, again, it's circumstances. There's some people that have, you know, there's some people who have, been attacked, and they've later on, after the attack, found out that they're pregnant, and they're weeks and weeks into a pregnancy, and they've had to go and have scans, and they've seen and heard heartbeat, and they've been told, look, you're 3 months, 4 months pregnant. And that person has then been like, well, I don't want a baby. I was attacked a few months ago. No, absolutely not. And, they would have had the feelings, the butterfly, the fluttery feelings. They may have felt the baby kick, move. But again, it's their choice as to whether they choose to carry that on. And also, there's also other circumstances as well, Jules. There's people, I know somebody that actually experienced this. They tried and tried and tried to conceive. They did conceive. They got so far in the pregnancy, they found out after several tests that the baby would have actually had a lot of medical issues and disability, and they had to make an excruciating decision to terminate that pregnancy, because it would not have actually been fair to bring that unborn baby into the world, because literally from birth it would have had to have machines to keep it alive. It would never be able to walk, never be able to talk. It's also the impact on the people that are having the child and that will be taking care and nurturing that child. That's no way of life for them, nor for the child, but that's their decision to make.
so if you don't want a child that needs you like that, bin it. That's like saying I don't want the runt of the litter.
I can see how people would see it that way, but it's the reality of it, Jules. Not everybody is mentally
I am literally
and physically
Elite Thinking Club. We just play devil's advocate sometimes, but that is in essence what you're saying. And I get it. I wouldn't want a child if I had the choice. If I knew that my child was coming into this world with problems and it would put extra strain on my life, selfishly, I would most likely say, yeah, fuck that. Why would I put myself under that sort of shit? And therefore,
I
creating.
Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, you're all right, Liz. Go on. You go.
No, you finish.
I wouldn't want it for the kid too. I'm actually in a bit of a mindset where actually this day and age, bringing a child into this world, like obviously, guys, you know, and I know we've had conversations and previous episodes on these topics of discussions about how messed up this world is. I don't even want to bring a healthy baby into this world. I think that is cruel. Half the time I sit home and I just think, why the fuck am I here? I didn't ask to be here, to be fair. Why have I been cursed with this? Like, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of beauty in this world. We can share that, we can spread that, and we're all human. We're all human. We experience it. But yeah, there is a part of me that sometimes thinks in my mind, I don't think it's fair that you bring a life into this world unless you can ensure, which is never 100%, but that you're actually going to give it the beauty of life, not
Quality of
the
life,
quality of life, not the flipping prison of
the system.
slavery. I know that sounds bad, like, but that's just like how I thought in the past, like, for real. I still think it
So
now.
what
I'll be
what
having a baby selfishly. If I have a kid now, it's for my own selfish needs because I want a kid. I don't give a shit if it's born in this fucking hell. I want a kid. But you get what I mean?
Yeah.
you want a baby? He want a baby. Yeah, no. What are people saying? What's people's views and feelings and thoughts on this? Because I know
Well, all
it's
the shit.
such a debate. This one, it really is.
Yeah, all of the shit followers have left, and I'm grateful for that because I don't know if I could kept taking that verbal abuse on my comments, but all the lovely ones have stayed. So if you're still here, you know I love you, and I'm very grateful that you're still here. But
Well,
yeah,
we're all for freedom of speech, so everybody's allowed and entitled to their opinion, whether it's
that's
negative
true,
or
Liz. You're absolutely right there. They are. But then I'm also entitled to have a reaction to that. Do you know what I
absolutely.
mean? I can't just sit here on my own channel, on my own show, and have people just start cussing me on my show. If this was a live studio audience, I'd be like, nah, Steve. You know, Jerry Springer had Steve. I'm like, Steve, get them fuckers out of here. Like, what is this? Like, I'm gonna sit here and get verbally abused on my own show.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go on, Liz. Go on.
I just know that it's a huge topic, and it's a very sensitive topic, and I don't think there's any. It's something that just can't be generalized. It's because of all of the different elements to it and circumstances, and effectively not being told what to do with your body.
There is so much complexity to this that the only way to, I believe, keep it flowing is to allow freedom of choice.
Absolutely.
The only person who's going to be affected by it is the one that makes the decision. But if you take away people's decisions forever, they won't take responsibility for their choice because they'll believe they didn't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if we allow them the choice to make their decision, at least, you know, they can say, yes, I am in fucking trauma, but okay, I made the choice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I make the choice, embrace the choice, you know?
Do you remember that story of the baby that was dumped in the trash in the dumpster by a young teenage girl? She had a pregnancy, hid the pregnancy, had the baby at home, and dumped the baby.
Is this
and
one that
luckily the
Tupac
baby,
sings about?
I don't know, but the baby was found, luckily, you know, and hospitalized. But is that more cruel, to give birth and bring the life into the world, and it is a person, it has made it to the world, and then it's just left to die? But she found it traumatic. She was very young. She didn't know or understand, for whatever reason. And it's just, this is where we have to take a step back and understand that, yes, a woman can carry a child and be pregnant, but she's also a human being herself that is being affected by something, and something physically that she's going through, and mentally. I mean, with pregnancies as well, there's a lot of things that come with pregnancies, with the hormones. There's also, you know, depression, postpartum. There's a lot. It's a massive physical impact on females. And it's not
That
easy.
I no doubt. That I no doubt.
That from personal experience, it is not easy.
There is just speaking for most men on this channel. Excuse me. Thank you. When I'll take you through 2 scenarios. So in my life, I've got 2 girls pregnant. One when I knew I wasn't ready. I was 15 years old and I didn't want contraception. I was just spewing it, man. I just loved sex. I was doing it. Me and her. Unfortunately, by God's will, and I've cursed myself for this, but I believe through the power of prayer. I begged. I didn't even pray. I got on my knees and I fucking begged the gods to save me from the situation. Because I was 15 years old, right? I was a kid, and I ran away. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't face up to what I'd done. And anyway, the gods blessed me. They took my child from me. It wasn't even a thing. It just happened early on. We couldn't save it, and that was that. And I've lived with that. Again, then later on in my life, like, I'm a man now, young man at that, ready for this. And I truly believe that I found someone, and I wanted the child. So, away we went, banging, 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 did the deed, and she's pregnant. And I cannot explain to you the surge of focus and just magnitude of, like, what I would call masculinity that surged through me when I found out. I couldn't stop smiling, and I was just so set for the rest of my life. I was like, finally, I have purpose. Finally, I have ambition and drive and motivation, and I wouldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I had something, and it was going to set me for the rest of my life. And I loved it. Um, and then
So no, let's
after analyzing all the bullshit, I just said, like, whatever you decide, I will stay, but I stay by you. I'll stand by you through it. And the choice was abortion. Then I had to go back to my regular life with all of this new focus and new ambition and new purpose taken. It's gone. It's done. You don't have that anymore. So I go back to my regular life where I was just it's very difficult to be taken so high and then be dropped so much, and then you what do you do now? What do I do now? I had something before. I had purpose before. I had this thing that was going to just excel me as an individual. I had a reason to get up out of bed. I had all these. I had all this mind. I had this just focus. I had this stuff. All I wanted to do was just prepare, get ready. This is coming. This is going to be amazing. For the rest of the days, every single day, I knew there was going to be fucking children's, activities like sports day, and I know it sounds really cringy or really stupid, but just watching films by the sofa, that you get all this idea, and then like that, no, you can't have it. It's not my fucking choice either, and it's hard. A lot of women will talk about how hard it is for them, but I don't think they really can understand, for as a man, what it actually does for us. It it's masculinity. It's like you don't realize it, but something in me changed. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry that it affected you in that way, Jules.
That's all right. I'm a
It's
fucking man. I'm a fucking man. People
it,
act like we just get on with it, man. We just get on with it.
it's
Like,
because
heartbreaking.
we have to.
But I completely see what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. I can feel your devastation. I think, though, if you were a woman and experienced being a woman, with regards to pregnancy, you may understand why she did that at that point in her life.
I do understand. No, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
I can understand that ultimately it is her female body that's gonna have to go through it, right? It's easy for me to say that I can go through this because I'm not physically going through or emotionally going through what she's going through. So it's easier for me to say that. It's easier for me to say that
I wonder,
I'll do all these things and ready for all these things. But you're right. I
I
don't I
wonder
don't
if
know what it's
men
like to
could.
have something grow in me.
I wonder if men could have children if they would, if the rates of abortion would be higher or lower, or it's
I can
obviously I know
guarantee most would want to do it. I the Missy the other day. I would love to be able to do it because
What,
then
to give birth out of your
months of
penis.
linking. Yeah, you've got 9 months, and with once it's born.
I know.
The idea, I love the, and you are fortunate enough to be able to.
Yeah. I do
if
feel
they
fortunate.
prefer
I
to
do.
it, I'd sign myself up.
Really?
Yeah, we've all got different experiences on this earth. On this earth, you've got your body, right? So you've got the privilege of being a woman, and I've got the privilege of being a man. You've also got the downside of being a woman, and I've got the downside of being a man. However, I'm not going to start flipping, being envious or jealous and all that shit. Fuck all that shit. But
You are
Michael ain't wrong in what he just said there.
I'm
And
jealous
I
of
wish
that.
I wish it was a bit louder for those at the back, but you do get 9 months of bonding. Solid 24 hours a day, 9 months of bonding. You have such a connection with the child before we even get a chance. Yeah, I might be able to like talk to your belly and just let the baby recognize my voice, which it probably does. It probably would. I think it'd love it. I think it's cool. Don't get me all fucking broody now and all that shit. But it is like yeah, he's not wrong. You're not wrong, Michael.
That's why I've asked.
Really
Well, that's what I want it to be.
interesting.
That's why I want it to be that I'm the one actually giving birth, not the doctor. So I can one day I can just turn around and say I'm the first person that actually held you.
Yeah.
Because that
I'm
is
all
the
for the home
closest I
births,
can get.
and I'm all for the vertical home births. I don't believe in that laying on your back crap. That compromises your spine. I'm all about, like, going down in doggy style and or whatever, crouching over the bathtub in a wet, whatever, however they used to do it in the day. No one lays on their back to give birth. Why the hell do you think we have gravity? You're not supposed to be pushing like that. Gravity's there for a reason. Let the baby drop out. Yeah, you never seen a flipping giraffe lay on its back.
Let the baby drop out.
Fuck is this?
No, I'm all for that.
I saw a video once of a lady give birth in her kitchen and catch the baby. Like she just hovered over and just went. What?
It is an amazing
and
thing.
You know the is it what's the umbilical cord? The umbilical cord, right? Is really long. Yeah, like really long. It's not some short thing. It's like really, really long. And there's a lot of nutrients still inside it. You're not meant to cut it straight away. You're meant to allow that to take its time to fully flush, to fully cleanse and fully go into the baby. Like you're meant to still be connected for a while after birth.
Yes.
That bond between mother and baby shouldn't be severed so quick. That's meant to be, you're meant to be like keeping like for time.
I think, is it in some religions they do kind of keep it connected for a bit.
Yeah, you got to. And imagine this, when you wake up in the morning, someone draws the curtains and it's bright light. You're like, fucking hell, man, close the lights. Can you imagine being born like you're in the dark? Not in the dark, but you're in like a nice warm place and it's dark. There's no and then you're just like, someone's just opened the curtains. You're just like, what the fuck, man? Put the lights on. Who the fuck are you? And who the fuck are you? Where the fuck's my mum? Better yet, where's my bed? I love my bed. And then, can you imagine, like, the baby, where's my bed?
Where's my
fuck
bed?
is this place?
Do you know what's funny, though? We don't remember being born, do we? We do not remember being born.
That's because it'd be quite traumatic.
Yeah.
I don't remember coming into
I reckon
the world.
that's quite traumatic experience.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got to be.
I bet you won't want to remember it. I won't.
Nah. You can either be born very, very peacefully into this world, or you can be born straight into the fucking trauma, the system, the fucking 7 seconds of boom. That's that song, isn't it? 7 seconds. Is it 7 seconds? Yeah. You know that one that speaks French at the start and he does like 4 different 7 seconds away or something? You know what I'm talking about. No? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Someone's got to know what I'm talking about. Someone must know what I'm talking about.
I'm sure someone on TikTok.
Any song like that, I know, it's 21 seconds.
Yeah, 7 seconds. It's oh god, I don't even know the song, man. I have to
21
Google it
seconds.
quick or YouTube it quick.
21 seconds. 21 seconds.
Yeah,
I got
starts coming out
21
That's enough.
singing
Don't get
21 seconds.
copyright.
I got 21 seconds to go.
No. Blah blah blah. Don't get copyright.
Oh
Yeah, we can't get
sorry.
copyrighted. But we're not even on Facebook no more, so they won't shut us down, to be fair.
Well, YouTube will copyright it.
Oh, YouTube, yeah. Yeah, so back to what listen, if you ain't done so already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and follow us on YouTube. Help grow the channel. We really appreciate it. We are the Elite Thinking Club, and we've been talking now for over an hour, so it's been a really, really productive episode. We've actually explored quite a bit, to be fair. I want to give a massive shout out to everyone who's been watching and all of our followers from start. If you haven't done so already, you can actually join us on the Elite Thinking Club Discord channel, so you can find the links in the description, click on those links, sign up, see us in there, drop us a message. I actually get a few messages from a few members. I actually have got one that I forgot that I was gonna mention here on the episode. But yeah, okay, so this was one of the messages I got. She goes, for tonight's episode, my take on Roe versus Wade drama, definitely polished enough to be read out, but to consider. Feel free to take full credit. I'm 98% sure I am correct in my interpretation. The overriding legal document in every constitutional democracy is the Constitution itself. This means that every bill enacted by the government and every precedent set by the courts needs to follow the rights set out in the given country's constitution. My understanding of the decision to override the precedent set in the case of Roe versus Wade is basically stating that there is nothing in the Constitution that would guarantee the right to abortion. Brackets, although it is often reported in the media as if the automatically bans abortion. So now every state has the right to make their own laws in this regard, therefore making this highly emotive issue purely political. It seems to have very little to do with protection of life and all to do with politics. Apparently, 50% of women who undergo abortions live in poverty. So again, those who are most vulnerable will suffer the consequences of political games.
Exactly.
That was from one of our members. Interesting. Where is you guys gone? I've lost you. Am I still on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, still here.
Can you still see me?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's going on with my... Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. There we are. Taskbar. There you go. Cool. If you have comments like that to share with us, then just DM us. Let us know. It's not an issue. And I'll ask you, can I read it out on the show? And if you say yeah, then I'll read it out on the show. I'll say, do you want me to mention who you are? If you say yeah, I'll let them know who you are. But if you say no, I won't. I'll just read it out. It's all easy. It's all good. So yeah. Michael, Liz, they're on Instagram as well. Michael and Liz, follow on Instagram. Get over there. Give us a follow. Find us, Elite Thinking Club. We actually value you guys. We are the voice for you guys to be in open debate. So definitely tune in next week, same time on a Tuesday night, 8 p.m. If you want to watch any of our old episodes, which I think you'll find highly entertaining and food for thought, head over to the YouTube, take a look at them. We've got like over 60 episodes now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You guys, get over there. Comment on the comments. Let us know what you think. We're not on Facebook no more because Mark Zuckerberg always, when we start talking about stuff, we get
cut.
Chopped.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know.
Exactly that. So what's that? Research the Negro Project. What's the Negro Project? Is that next week's episode? What the hell is that? Sienna, she's been on the comments the whole episode.
We'll have to research.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. Anyone's got any suggestions?
We're all for learning, definitely.
Negro Project, or is it Negro Project? I don't know which.
Negro Project.
Look into it. It's about the Roe versus Wade. No, this is the Roe versus Wade. We've done this one now. Or do you want to do another one?
Done. With no part
this is done. I thought we'd done this one. Campfire's burning out on this one. We've got to restoke the fire, start a new conversation. There's a post on my thing about it. All right. Well, guys, there's Sienna in the comments there on TikTok. Go check her out. I don't know what we're talking about next week. It could be something completely different. We could be, I don't know, talking about how, let's talk about how calendars ended in the Mayans, or let's talk about things that I really like crop circles and where the fuck did they come from? Or let's talk about, what do you want to talk about, guys? We have a debate on, I don't know, whoever thought cost of living crisis. That's a good one, Liz. That's actually a really good one. And now that I think about it, That would be a very, very good episode. That is exactly what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
That is exactly what we're going to talk about.
Lots of elements.
We are going to be
it.
talking about the cost of living crisis on next week's episode. So if you are in a position where it's affecting you and you want us to, you know, voice what you have to say, then you need to DM us. Let us know what you're saying, because, you know, it's really easy for people to point the finger and say it's the government's fault. But I don't think you actually know what is going on, like globally, or what's actually causing it, because to find out what causes it, rather than just pointing the finger and say it's the government's fault, isn't that just an easy thing to say? Maybe it's just too easy to say. And everyone's just got used to saying it now, when actually it isn't the government's fault. But whose is it? Whose fault is it?
Week.
Or is it just talk about it next week? Let's find out. So put it in your diary, 8 p.m. Yeah, find out next week at the Elite Thinking Club. Nah, but honestly, realistically, put it in your diary, 8 p.m. every Tuesday on TikTok, Facebook. No, not Facebook, because Mark Zuckerberg kills us off when we start talking about this sort of stuff. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Yeah. Michael, Liz, guys, I'm really, really grateful for you as always. You are so important to the Elite Thinking Club. You make it the Elite Thinking Club, and I can't do it without you. So thank you again for being here consistently for over a year with me on live chat. I mean, geez, Louise, I love that. And shout out to all of our members who've been here from day. Like Nini, I see you in the comments. And she must bounce from like the TikTok to the Insta to the YouTube.
She's on it.
And shout out to all the other members that have been there from day. She's on it.
And Clive,
she's a member. She's
you, Clive.
And Paul, we see you, Paul.
And Kirsty.
Right, you're always there. Kirsty. Guys, is there anything else you want to add to this episode before we leave?
Nothing other than we should all be free and it should all be our say.
All right, Liz, thanks for that. I think Michael is he's on holiday, isn't he? So he's probably
in the middle of actually telling you something really good now, and it's frozen.
I actually don't have anything else to add to tonight's episode. I think it's been a very, very interesting episode. It's been very, very good to hear the views and opinions of those that I may not have really considered before, but it has been powerful. Look, if you want to, you can watch this episode back, because it may take a rewatch to really hear what was actually said, because in the moment, sometimes you have selective hearing. You may not have actually understood nor wanted to hear what someone actually said, especially with the mindset of biased. You know, you might be biased in the moment and therefore not actually appreciate what someone just said, and therefore rewatching it is a good thing. Just like watching a film the second time round, you may be like, didn't see that before.
Yeah,
but that's for you to decide. But if you do want to do that, head over to the YouTube. All episodes are on there, and we really, really appreciate the views and the likes and the comments. So thank you so much. Michael, you're back just in time to say goodbye. Right, thank you guys for watching. We really, really appreciate you. So from me, Michael, and Liz, everyone everywhere,
bye.
Peace.